From Tally to Cali,
it's time
to wake up.
Wake up, wake up. WarChant.com is your ultimate Seminole sports source.
And this is Wake Up War Chant, presented by Zaxby's.
Now here's WarChant.com's Aslan Hajavandi
and
It's game week. It's game day eve. As you're listening to this, it's Wake Up War Chant presented by Zaxby's. I'm Aslan. Corey Clark joining us from the greater Atlanta area. He's refreshed. Did you just have a Zensation salad and the peach fizz soda with it, Corey? I know you're going to say no, but that's the sort of reaction I have after I consume my Zaxby's. Just that.
Yeah, no, I ate at my mom's.
I
ate dinner at my mom's here on Thursday night, so right. No Zaxby's tonight. But I have a feeling I might get some Friday.
Yeah,
on the way back down to the 850.
All right, what'll Sharon cook up for you?
Oh, breakfast, fried eggs.
Nice,
best fried eggs in the world. Okay. I promise you, I've had them all over the world. I know, and nobody makes them like Sharon Clark.
You know who is refreshed, though, Corey? Our guys, Colin Morris at USAF Knoll 1993, tweeted at us, Zaxby's, and War Chant, saying, lunch break with Corey and Aslan and a Zax snack. Go Knowles. And how about George Williams at It's Just George W, tweeting at us last day before moving to Ohio, had to hit Zaxby's. Folks, do it as well. Zaxby's, indescribably good. Hey, folks, you're coming to the game is going to be in Tallahassee. You probably know that by now. But if you need some last-minute gear to get your best look for the opener, visit Garnet and Gold. Check them out at garnetandgold.com. Also, their Facebook page, Garnet and Gold. Still think they got that promotion running where you can enter and win $250 of free gear from Garnet and Gold. So check them out. All right, Corey, a wise man once said on this program that with the impending storm brewing in the Atlantic, if worse came to worse, maybe it wouldn't be a bad idea to go ahead and move this game from Jacksonville to Tallahassee. Somebody important was listening to the program, apparently, because that's what happened.
Right, and, I could do a victory lap here on all the mean things that Ira Schoffel, the great Ira Schoffel, said to me when I suggested that. First on headlines. Then I was kind of joking on Twitter, but I know it was a joke with some truth to it. It's like, hey, if there's something churning towards Jacksonville, why don't you just move it 2.5 hours to the west, back to the stadium it should have been in all along anyway. And then, so what was funny, I think this was Tuesday night maybe, because he had seen that tweet with me saying that, or something about, hey, get ready to paint those start painting those end zones, grounds crew. And he's like, hey, have you recorded the show yet? And this was like at 10 o'clock, 11 o'clock at night. Right. And I go, yeah, we recorded a little while ago. He's like, did y'all talk about and we were having the conversation about whether they could move it or not. Uh-huh. And he's like, please tell me you didn't talk like this on the radio. He's like, please tell me you didn't talk like this on the show. I was like, what does that mean? He's like, maybe you could get somebody involved that actually knows something instead of just you spouting off. Basically, you spouting off nonsense. There's no way they can do that. They are not doing that. And guess what? That's exactly what they're doing. But here's the thing. It's legit. As I said then, I think I said it on headlines too. It's not impossible. It's not logistically impossible to move a game 2.5 hours. It is a hardship, and it is a huge undertaking in a short amount of time. 72 hours, I guess, give or take a few, maybe 60 hours. That's not an easy thing to do to get everything lined up to host 50 or 60,000 people. But it could be done. That was my only point. If worse came to worse, it could be done. That might beat the alternative than not having a game at all.
I still don't get it. Yeah, I don't get it. I don't get why they moved it. I don't get they moved it and they're still going to kick it off early. If I'm a fan,
I think it's Jacksonville being in the middle of the state, and I think it's they are in a position to maybe take a direct hit or close to it. And if the mayor or the governor orders those cities that are going to in line of it a mandatory evacuation, and you've got 60,000 extra people on your roads. You know what I mean? I think they would have been perfectly fine playing it in Jacksonville at noon or 11 a.m. and being done with it. but I think they just didn't want to take that chance. And what I'm sure it came down to is either you guys move it to Tallahassee or this game's not being played. Would be my thinking.
Well, I mean, I would gander a guess that 30,000 of the people that are coming to this game, well, that's probably too high of a number. Let's go really low. Let's say 15,000. Well, I guess 15,000 is lower than 60, but still, I mean, the amount of fans that are going to be coming from Miami, Fort Lauderdale, Orlando, I mean, they're going to be still using the same roads. They're going to be going up the turnpike and then getting on I-10 to come to Tallahassee.
Or they're not coming. I mean, I think that's definitely a possibility.
Well, if you're from Miami, I'm definitely not coming now. It's a 7-hour drive. If it was just going straight up I-95, okay, piece of cake. I can turn around and come back home, shutter up the house or whatever, help out the wife or help out the husband, and get ready for the storm. I mean, I don't want to sound like I'm complaining about this. To me, it's kind of surprising because if this thing is serious, if it's so serious that it's going to, jeopardize it being in Jacksonville, I just don't know what 150 miles of distance is really going to do.
I think more than anything, it's you're not the thought maybe is you're not blocking up people that are trying to leave the state.
Gosh, I mean, how many people are? I don't know.
Hey, man, they're being overly cautious. I completely agree with that, but that's the thinking. And the other thinking is, sorry guys, but if you live in Miami or Coral Gables, and you wanted to come see this game and then get back to Miami, man, you might not be able to do that. It's a bummer, but it's either we worry about you getting to and fro, or we actually get to play this football game.
Yeah.
And there's going to be thousands of people now that weren't going to the game that are taking your place for a lot less money. That's another thing people need to realize. Florida State, they're losing money on this. I don't know how much. I don't know what the insurance rate is on something like this. I'm sure there's some sort of coverage if the game got moved out of Jacksonville. But they certainly weren't selling those tickets at Alltel. What do we call it now? It's not Alltel Stadium.
TIAA CREF.
Okay, they weren't selling all those tickets at Alltel Stadium for $10 and $15. And they're getting. It certainly looked like those people were getting full refunds. So they're losing money in this exchange. But at least the game's being played. Hey, kudos to Florida State for at least undertaking it, man. They could have just said, no, that's all right. It's better to open up at Louisiana Monroe anyway. It's just one game. But kudos to them and for Boise State to agreeing to it and getting it figured out early enough that people could make. Now, look, it's going to be it's a hassle, man, and I get it. I live in Tallahassee, part-time. So I understand that it's a hassle for somebody that's flying in from Texas or flying in from Iowa and doesn't know how they're going to get back, or maybe they just can't go. That's a bummer. It sucks. It really does. I'm not dismissing that. But you got to play. If you can play the game, play the game. And if it means moving it 2.5 hours to make the governor, who's going to be declaring a state of emergency, to make the governor happy and to make the Jacksonville mayor happy, then do it. And, just you're going to suffer some losses.
I wonder if they would have done this at the Gators. I feel like they would have done this at the Gators, Jacksonville, You
don't think so? They'd have let the Gators play whenever they wanted?
Yeah, but all right, you want to do 7 p.m. prime time? Go for it. This, though, does move Willie Taggart now to an outstanding, I don't know, what is he, like 17-0 in the preseason? I mean, he's like the 72 Dolphins of preseason coaches. Did you get this to fall in your lap? This game now gets moved.
What is that? Oh, the game being played at home?
Oh, it's a home, and that was a true home game at noon. Intense heat, humidity. I mean, for everybody talking about it, first of all, I think it's way overblown. Florida State has lost at home in September to, teams like North Carolina State. So it's not like, there's this real, this unbeatable frozen tundra effect, like the inverse of it when you come play in Tallahassee in September, let teams come to town and wilt. I think that's extremely overrated. But it doesn't hurt. I mean, I'd rather have that, I guess, than going up and playing Boise in their backyard. But to have the game at home at noon, where it's going to be probably the thickest and hottest it's going to be, because it's actually been kind of pleasant the last few nights. So when they kick off at 7 o'clock, by the second half, the weather would not be a factor at all. So for this to happen the way it does, I mean, obviously we don't, Willie doesn't want to see any property damage or people lose, their lives to this, but I'm sure he's not too disappointed the game got moved to Tallahassee. So, There you go. Maybe this is the first break that he really needs to get this thing rolling.
How many people do you think are going to be there?
That's part of our over-under from the Williams Sportsbook in Tallahassee that we'll get to here in a moment. But again, folks, we've gone 10 minutes into the show. The game's going to be played at noon in Doak Campbell Stadium on ESPN News. So if you did not know all those details, there it is. If you want to come to the game, just go on the Seminoles.com and the Buy Tickets tab or the Buy Tickets menu, and it's $10 general admission. So I recommend buying the tickets and then sitting in a really good seat early. That way, if the person who has a season ticket in that seat comes, you can just kind of laugh at them and be like, "Ha, yeah, you think I'm going to leave? Nah, power to the people." That's how I
that and folks, I'm sure we have plenty of season ticket holders that listen to this show.
I'm kidding. It was a joke. That was a joke. That was a joke, by the way. Go ahead.
No, but we do have that, and we have people with their chairbacks that they bought.
Yeah.
Look, man, they aren't yours. They aren't yours for this game. This is a general admission game. It doesn't matter that you sit in row 27, seat 2 for the other games. You did not buy a season ticket to this game.
I can't believe you're doing this, Corey. This is bold. Really? You're going like full Aslan heel right now. I can't believe this.
No, but it's true. Like, I mean, you could hope that people would be like, "Oh, go ahead, man." But no, it's general admission. You paid $10 for that seat, just like the Joey the student paid $10 for that seat. And if he gets there before you, that's the deal with general admission. It's first come, first serve, and your season ticket isn't your season ticket for this game. And again, that's one of the there it is again. I'm gonna slap myself in the face every time I say it, unless I'm going back to something that I've already talked about.
Right.
And then it makes more sense. But again, that's one of the issues with why I was genuinely surprised that they did it, because of the tickets and what they were going to do money wise. Like how do you sell tickets in 2 days? And I think they're going to have $15 tickets on the day of the game if you go to the stadium. How are they going to man those ticket booths? What kind of flood is there going to be as far as ticket sales? And what were they going to charge? All that. They're losing money on this deal, perhaps millions of dollars, because even if 50 or 60,000 people come, you're looking at $600,000 as opposed to millions you would have made in Jacksonville. So, there was a lot of intricacies to this and how they were going to do it. But one of the things they settled on, which made perfect sense, is it's general admission. So I know that's the seat you get for the Miami game. That's not the seat you get for the Boise game, because the Boise game wasn't supposed to be here. So everybody be good sports. You're all Florida State fans, so don't get in fights about your seats. They're not your seats, not for this particular game.
Okay.
Right?
Yeah, no, you are right. I can't believe you said that. I like it.
What would you do? What would you do if you had season tickets and somebody was sitting in your seat?
I think I would expect that I wouldn't be able to get it, or I would show up early, or if it had some real big sentimentality to me, maybe I would be like, "Hey, I'll buy you a beer if you give me this seat," kind of a thing.
Sentimentality, what would that be?
I don't know. Just I've always sat in this seat. I haven't missed an opener in this seat in 20 years.
And then I'd be like, "Oh, so you were sitting in that seat when we scored 3 points against Virginia Tech? Great. Let's keep that streak going." And what would you be if you were the other guy?
Yeah, I'd be like, well, hey,
if you were sitting in somebody's seat and a season ticket holder came and said, "Hey, man, you're in my seat."
Well, it depends how dense that area was. I'd walk down a few, or I'd walk up a few rows, or I'd move down. I wouldn't put up that big of a fight probably. Also depends on their seniority. If it was some guy that was my peer group, I'd be like, tough luck. But if it was some old timer, I'd probably be more likely to be like, all right, go ahead, and I'll walk up a few steps and I'll just sit a few rows behind you. It's not.
Yeah, and also young people, don't take the chair backs. Let the older folks, the people like us, and the people like me in my 40s and then 50s and 60s, let them have the chair backs. You can sit on the steel benches. Your backs are fine.
Gosh, I really wish they would have been able to. The noon thing kills me. I hate noon football. I know we've talked about it. You and I, as working media, it actually is sort of the best thing for us in terms of having a social life on the weekends to have a noon kickoff, and then you also get to go home and watch football. I think it's going to have such a weird feel. Just a noon game there, not nearly packed. It's gonna have a weird sort of aesthetic to it, I feel like. So with that said, let's get to it, Corey. Again, these comes from the Williams Sportsbook, a.k.a. Gene Williams, founder and administrator of WarChant.com, giving us these over-under numbers. I'm going to keep tabs of it much better this year, Corey.
Yeah, who won last year?
I think I might have won by the slimmest of margins, maybe by one pick.
But we don't remember. So I think I won.
Okay.
So there you go.
Well, I think the Florida game was just such a disaster that I'm like, well, I don't even care about this.
Well, that's a very good point.
All right, with that said, you asked what the attendance is going to be. 60,000 over, under. I'm going to say under. Yeah, okay. Yeah, I'm saying under, too.
Under. It's going to be a lot of walk-up, though. And I think there's going to be a ton of people waiting to get in line at about 12:12.
Yeah.
Like thousands upon thousands of people still standing in line.
Yeah. It was, I told my brother to get online to purchase the tickets because he got tickets through like a work favor or whatever. But he's like, yeah, can I just use those? I'm like, no, you have to buy these tickets. Here's the link. And as I went on the link, I kept getting this message that was, we're overloaded. Please wait. And, you're the next available person or whatever. And it kept crashing. But he was able to kind of go through and order them pretty quickly. So to Corey's point, I would recommend, folks, again, if you want to come to the game, probably go on Sentinels.com and order your tickets online. You can print them at home and then bring them because if you do walk up, I think Corey's pretty spot on. I think there's going to be a lot of people. It's going to be a very long line, and it probably won't move very efficiently. So, we'll both take the under on the attendance at 60,000. How about this one? I like this one from Gene. Kickoffs returned 2. No hook, just the number 2. I think you have to maybe start with, like, how many times do you think Boise is going to kick off? Like, how many times are they going to score? I mean, they're going to have to kick off to start the game or the half. They'll probably score at least 4 times. So that's 5 kickoffs, I'm thinking. 2. I don't know Boise's kicker. I should probably have done some research on him. I will say over. I think they'll bring it out 3 times.
Yeah, that's a good number. I think I'm with you. I think I would say over 2. Over as well. And over 2, I guess. That works. Because I think they'll probably kick it 4 or 5 times. I think those guys, your first game, you're like, you know what? We've been practicing this. I want to let my guys block, and I want to show everybody how good we are at kick returns. By game 3, hopefully they're fair catching everything.
Right on. Explosive plays in terms of the run game. Well, not explosive, but chunk plays, I guess. Runs of 10 yards or more. Florida State will have 2.5 over under runs of 10 or more yards. I'm going to say over.
He put the number at 2.5?
2.5, yeah. I'm taking the over.
Yeah, over.
Okay. All right. We're quite bullish. Bullish on the Noles. I like it. All right. Well, hey.
I think we also have the same answers for everyone so far, don't we?
Let's take a break.
At Birch Orthodontics, they know what a difference a beautiful and healthy smile can make in your life.
They take the time to get to know you and perform a thorough exam so that they can make an individualized treatment plan just for you or your child.
They use the latest technology in a warm and comfortable environment. So whether you are interested in traditional metal or clear braces or clear aligners, they can give you the smile you deserve. They know investing in your smile means investing in your future. And at Birch Orthodontics, they are honored to be a part of your smile journey.
Serving Tallahassee for 16 years and supporting the Noles since forever. Check them out at birchorthodontics.com. BURCH orthodontics.com. Okay, we're back. We're going to disagree a lot. I was listening to the podcast that Scott Van Pelt and Ryan Russillo had, their farewell podcast since starting September 1st. Ryan Russillo is leaving ESPN to go to the Ringer for full time. And they did their radio show for 6 years, and I think they said they had maybe 4, or maybe less than that, full blown-up fights. And I wonder how come I wonder if we did live radio in an actual studio, if we would have that. Or are you just so apathetic to everything that I say that you never really would you'd be like, whatever, I'm not going to yell at this kid over anything.
Yeah, I mean, I kind of, take you with a grain of salt. You know what I mean?
Right.
There's no offense there, but, I think sometimes you say things for effect, and sometimes you're really mad, and other times you're really mad in the moment, but you probably don't really think that. So I let that kind of stuff slide.
Whatever. You're a punk. FSU.
Say it to my face. Say it to my face, please.
FSU penalties, 8.5, Corey.
Oh.
I'm going to say under. Okay, there we go. Good. We disagreed. I'm going to say under.
First game, probably a little. They're all whopper jawed from not being in Jacksonville and having their whole lives turned upside down here. So I'm gonna say over 8.5. It's a good number too, though.
It is. Yeah, I could see maybe a couple false starts when they try to go tempo, defense, maybe some misalignment stuff. Okay, this is this will be like a gentleman's sort of definition when we reconvene on Monday here on Wake Up War Chant, presented by Zaxby's. Gimmick plays. I think you and I would probably agree on what we would deem as a gimmick play, right?
Sure. Yeah.
Would you
like what is Wild Cam a gimmick?
See, actually,
I think so. I think that's a gimmick.
Okay. I think it's a gimmick if he actually I think it's a gimmick if it's him and LeBourne in the backfield, and then he pitches it to LeBourne like option style. To me, like that's a gimmick. I feel like Wildcat's too ubiquitous. It's happened too many places for it to really be considered gimmicky. But we'll see.
We'll see how it works. We'll see what it looks like if they even do it. We'll see how it looks, and then we'll reconvene and discuss.
All right. 2 over.
Yeah, I think over as well.
Damn it, Corey.
Sorry, buddy.
Here we go.
I also think maybe they'll have something where they have like, I don't know, like 8 guys on one side of the field. All that goofy stuff that these offenses do occasionally. You know what I mean? Or just have like 2 linemen and a center, and everybody else is out wide. Something like that. I think that's a gimmick. It's a gimmick formation anyway.
For sure.
I
would count that. I would count that. Speaking of these offenses, quote unquote, what happened to Chip Kelly? They're terrible. Like UCLA's bad. Lost to Cincinnati. Yeah. I mean, I know Cincinnati's pretty good for a group of 5 program. And I know he didn't forget how to coach. Kind of looks like he did.
Yeah, that quarterback doesn't do him any favors either. Good night. I don't know if that kid's supposed to be good and was just terrible, but yeah, he was awful. Awful.
Speaking of awful, how bad was the commentary team? And I don't.
Who was that?
I don't like criticizing people in the media because I don't like being criticized. I have fairly thinnish skin. They got to go back to the drawing board. There's no way that lasts past this season. So Adam Amin was the play-by-play, and then Matt Hasselbeck and Pat McAfee were your dual color commentators.
So McAfee was the other guy.
Yeah.
Oh, he was awful. He was the one that was awful. That guy, I'm sure he's got a personality. I'm sure he's they'll find a way to use him, but in that role he was awful. Like I saw it was 2 straight sentences he said. The first one was he was talking about the UCLA quarterback. And keep in mind it's 24-14 with 7.5 minutes left. UCLA is losing. And that quarterback has had an awful game. And I can't remember his name. He kept calling him
DTR, like Dorian Thompson, not Dorian.
Yeah, Thompson Robinson or something. Yeah. And he goes, DTR's had a really nice he's had a really nice game with his legs. He's kind of willed them to victory with his legs. And I said to myself, wait, they're down by 10 points in the 4th quarter. What do you mean he's willed them to victory? They're not going to win this game, and they're certainly not winning it now. What a weird phrase to utter. And then immediately his next thought was, UCLA hasn't had the ball at all. They need a nice sustained drive right here. They need a nice long sustained drive. They've been doubled up in time of possession. They need to take some time off this clock with a sustained drive. It's like, dude, they're down by 10 points with 7 minutes left to go. What are you, high? Will you get paid for this?
Oh, yeah.
And that was that was the only time I listened to, like, that was the 5-minute window I listened to that commentary, and I was like, oh, I hope it hasn't been this bad all game.
It was, yeah. By Dorian Thompson Robinson. That's a lot. You probably would, but they did.
You can't say that every time.
Yeah, exactly right. Especially because it's not like RG3 in 2011 or whenever he won the Heisman. Like it wasn't.
Right.
You can't give him that. Okay, back to the numbers. Right. Punting average, speaking of Pat McAfee, I feel like punting average always finds its way on these. 40 yards. I'm going to say under.
Over. You're going to say under?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Oh, I mean, Logan Tyler averaged like 43. Logan Tyler's problem last year was because he'd get a lot of great rolls too sometimes. Mm-hmm. He'd kick it like 26 yards, but it would roll another 20. I think he led the ACC in punting average last year.
Yeah.
His problem was, again, I said it again, but only because I've said it so many times.
Shows. Yes.
And I just slapped myself in the face. was the line drives right down the middle of the field.
Right.
He'd kick a 49-yarder, but almost as if he was punting directly to the guy's chest to try to hit him in stride as he's running towards the Florida State end zone.
Thick,
so I'll say over 40. Over 40.
Thick noon air. Thick noon Tallahassee air. Affects the trajectory, the velocity. So that's why I'm saying under.
Fair.
Okay. This is the official number. 53.5 total points scored combined, both teams. 53.5.
Under.
Ooh. All right, I'll say over, just to be contrarian. But I'm just like, yeah, well, Florida State wins 28-24. That's under the number.
And I said on headlines, I was looking at like 31-20.
Okay.
So that's under as well. But I'm also, until we see this offense look awesome, and I think it's going to be much improved, obviously, I still got a lot of last year seeping in my brain a little bit, where it's hard for me to imagine them scoring mid to high 30s.
Yeah. No, I'm with you. Yeah, that's a big number for this program, unfortunately, as we talk right now, going into week one. Despite Bryles and all the accolades and the production that he's had, it's not like Baylor's never lost football games. It's not like Houston didn't lose games and FAU didn't lose games. This offense is going to be potent at some point, hopefully sooner than later. But yeah, it's like 30. But I feel like the potential for explosive plays, even with this offensive line being as maligned as they are, I think the one touchdown I saw that UCLA scored, I feel like was like a short square in or maybe a quick slant that the guy just busted it, just out-athleted Cincinnati. And that's what I'm just thinking. If DJ gets off the line and gets past the first linebacker on a quick slant, like he's gone. Tamorian on a 30-yard post, he's gone. Even if, and the thing is, James doesn't need a clean pocket and a perfect pocket to throw a quick slant to DJ or, roll to his right and just fire it to Tamorian down the sideline. So I think that the potential is there for the explosive plays that they won't have sustained drives. It won't be a plodding sort of thing. So, yeah, I'll take the over. And this kid, I know he's a true freshman, but they've got an offensive line that will probably give him a good amount of time. They've got experienced receivers and 10 years in a row of having a 1,000-yard rusher. They'll move the ball a few times. And I'm pretty sure, Brett Rippon, he was a 4-year starter, and he was a true freshman as a starter as well. So Brian Harson's, he's faced this before, and it's not like this has been a last-second thing. The starter or the projected starter, the fact that he was hurt going into camp. He had an ACL injury last year. But they kind of, I think, have groomed this kid. Chase Cord is a name, by the way.
Chase Cord.
Yeah.
All right.
They've known that he was kind of rehabbing, so I'm pretty sure they've given a lot of reps to Bock Meyer, and I'm sure he'll be game. I don't think he's going to get too scared, but I don't think he's going to light it up either. So. And this defense too. I mean, let's be honest. I know they're more athletic than Boise. They've got 6'5", 6'6" edge rushers that are going to cause some problems, at least in terms of passing lanes. But I could see them moving the ball 3-4 times in this game and get 20 points. Florida State has a couple explosive plays, maybe 2 decent drives, and we're over 53.5, I think. So there we go.
Did you change your answer?
No, I'm over. I'm over. All that preamble, I'm still over. I'm going over.
I thought you were going under.
No, you went under. I took the over.
Oh, okay. All right. I thought you said under initially, so you changed your mind, or you talked yourself into it for sure.
Or I really said over, and you just misheard me.
Well, either way, it was a lot.
What was the
number? Hey, it sounds like you're really buying in. You have a lot of reasons anyway. I don't really have any reasons that I don't think it'll be over, other than I watched this offense last year.
Yeah. So what do you think, Corey? So we said the number, the over, the under. So you do think Florida State will win?
I mean, I don't know. I said that on headlines. I really didn't want to. I just wanted to give a score. I didn't want to give a winner. They wouldn't let me do that. Yeah, I do. I have a pretty good feeling that they'll win the game. But admittedly, I did last year too, and that did not work out. So take what I just hate saying, yeah, I think Florida State will win the game, and then they don't win the game, and people call us on it. Like, oh, you really nailed that one. It's like, man, it's just an opinion. How would I know? I haven't seen him play. I think the offense will be good enough. And I think, again, I hope they have the advantage. I think they have the advantage at quarterback. Not in 2 years from now. This kid might be awesome 2 years from now. But his first start on the road in sweaty Doak Campbell Stadium, sweaty, moist, just humid Doak Campbell Stadium. It might be, if it's a close game, you're talking about 3:15 at the afternoon. He's going to be exhausted. I just think that Florida State should win the game. You're playing a group of 5 opponent, albeit probably the best one, consistently the best group of 5 football team there is. And you're playing them in your home stadium in 95-degree heat with a true freshman quarterback making his first start. If you can't win this one, and again, it's not going to be easy because it's a hard game. It's a hard team. It's a good team that's used to winning. But if you need to win this game. You need to win this game, Aslan. That's what I'm saying. You need to win this game, so I'm picking them.
Well, let's kind of pivot off that then, and as we kind of wind the show down for the day. Are you any more, I don't want to say convinced, or do you have any stronger feelings about just how important this game is any more so than you did maybe 2 weeks ago or 2 months ago? I mean, we've always known this is going to be a really important game, but as we approach, the eve of this ball game, just having talked to Willie 10 times now in the preseason and talking to all the players and everything, and just with the season being so close and what they dealt with last year, just how, is it on a scale of 1 to 10, the importance of this? Has it changed with you at all now that we're this close to the game?
No, not really. I would say that, and people can read about this on War Chant. I wrote a column about just how brash this team is and the things they're saying. And I'm not the old man that's saying don't talk and don't make predictions and don't think you're going to be awesome. Don't be confident. Just speaking cliched nonsense. I'm glad they talk like that. But you hope it's for a reason. And you hope that they've seen something this month or these last 7 or 8 months that make them think that they're going to be a really good football team. And with that, them seeming so confident, the football team itself seeming so confident, for them to go out and lose this game after last year, I think it's a little bigger because it seems like they really think they're a good football team. So not much. It's negligible. It's marginal. It's not that much more pressure. But I do think that when you say the things you've said this week and you seem so utterly confident in your team, from Willie too, but from the team also, you seem so utterly confident in your football team. And if you go out and lose a home opener against a true freshman quarterback, what's going on? I don't know. Did that make sense? Probably not.
Yeah, it did. To your point, though, about this confidence, is it manufactured or is it kind of an organic thing? Willie was asked that on Thursday when we spoke to him, and he said that he does think that the confidence comes from practicing well. He thinks that they feel the way they feel because they've put in the preparation, they've seen kind of the fruits of their labor. So,
so this was the point I was trying to make, and I never got to it, but you spurred me there. So if they do think that, which I do think they think that, I think they think they're going to be really good this year, and last year was a complete anomaly, and they're a 9 or 10 or 12-win team, whatever they think. I think there's a chance they really think they're going to be good. If they go out and then lose that opener, maybe they practiced awesome, but when they get on the field on Saturday, they look not good, and they get beat again. So now they're 5 and 8 in their last 13. The whole psyche of the team could be, here we go again. We're not any good.
Absolutely.
We thought we were good. We thought we had this thing figured out. We thought this was going to be our year to turn it around, and look at us. We're the same team. That's what you have to fight on Saturday, in my opinion. That's why there's a little extra pressure, because you don't want those thoughts to creep back into their heads, the ones that obviously dominated them in October and November of last year.
Ira Schofel, I thought, had some really strong comments on the War Chant report with Gene Williams and Jeff Cameron.
Was it about how the game would never be moved to Tallahassee?
He dovetailed off that and then went to this point. That, this team definitely did not – they felt they were not coached well last year. Now, whether you folks want to disagree or agree with that, I guess the proof's kind of in the pudding, going 5-7, the way they lost the games. But that team, I know Willie said that the buy-in was high, but obviously it wasn't everybody across the board. But I'm sure that team definitely, at maybe not all 85 kids, but I'm sure enough of them over the course of those 13 weeks, at points were like, what are we doing? Like, we are not good. We are not being coached well. And it seems like everybody's pulling in the right direction right now. And for this game to not get off to a good start, to not be a win, catastrophic is a really big word, and it's probably not a proper word to use as a potential Category 4 hurricane kind of bruise off the coast of this great state of mine. If they don't win this game,
loss.
Yeah, a loss is man, it's a season killer. I really think that. I really do. I know they got 11 other games. They have 11 other opportunities, if I could speak. 13 weeks to get it right. But you lose to Boise at home after all this got changed that way. I just don't see how the attitudes. They did a really great job coming back hungry against Samford, and that's not being sarcastic. Like, they said the right things and all that. I don't know if they get back off the mat that. There's going to be so much doubt, I think, would creep. But I don't think it's going to happen. They're going to win. 33-21.
What did you say the score was?
33-21. I'm going the 30s.
So you went over by half a point.
Yeah.
Solid. I'm sorry. I don't know where I got the idea that you weren't confident on that over. Yeah, I think the biggest thing is the doubt if you lose this game. I think most of them truly believe, like you were talking about, I think they truly believe that they're a much better team and they're much better than Boise and they're going to shock people this year. They're going to be good. They have a lot of talent. But if you go out and lose your first game at home again to Boise, that doubt doesn't just creep in. That doubt, it multiplies exponentially. Like it floods the team. And now that doesn't mean, I don't think it's a season killer. You can erase doubt by playing better the next few weeks, and maybe you beat Virginia on the road. And then all of a sudden you feel good about yourself again. But in that moment, not only does the fan base completely tune out everything you say for the time being, but I do think the players, there'll be legitimate doubt and worry about, man, are we just not any good? Are we not being coached well? Is this not a good program anymore? Are we not nearly as good as we think we are? What is going on? And that's the stuff you have to fight. But you're right. They're going to win 31-20, so it's not going to matter. The Boise State team on the way home on the plane, as they eat their baked potatoes, probably don't even cook the baked potatoes, just eat them raw like apples. As they're all feasting on their cold baked potatoes. Not baked potatoes, just their cold potatoes. They weren't baked.
Yeah.
They're going to be wondering what in the world is going on. That team was 5-7 last year, and they just embarrassed us. Are we in for another long season here in Idaho? Do I have to live in Idaho and lose football games?
Yeah.
That's what's going to be going on that flight.
They do start off slow, Boise, as a program. Like they kind of they'll stumble like weeks 1 through 4, but then they usually turn it on and end up getting 10 wins. So I do think Florida State will kind of profit from that. I think they played Ole Miss back in 2014 in the Chick-fil-A kickoff game and lost to them. So I've seen it firsthand. Yeah, it's crazy I said 33-21 because, believe it or not, as much as I think this offense is going to be better than the defense, I feel like maybe this will actually be like the defense's maybe best game for some reason. But I don't know. I don't want to get into that because that'll take too much time to explain. And we're about done with the program. Corey, you have any last words to say as folks get ready to clock out for the week, perhaps come to Tallahassee to watch a game, perhaps stay at home with their loved ones, and watch the reboot of Lethal Simplicity? Any words of wisdom? How should people kind of approach things as we move forward in this uncertain time?
Well, first off, obviously go to Zaxby's. That probably went without saying. But if you're on the way out of town to avoid this hurricane, and in all seriousness, if that thing is coming at you, there's no reason to die in a hurricane. You have plenty of warning. If it is coming towards your side of the coast, if you are in the path of that thing, Get away. Go. Come to Tallahassee. Aslan's got a place for you to stay. Just get out of the way. Seriously. Don't ride it out. Get out. Go. And get Zaxby's on the way. But also, folks, we made it. For 9 months, you've listened to the two of us just babble about nonsense. You know, and we talked more about Game of Thrones than we did basketball or baseball for the most part, or football for that matter. Like, it was a long slog from Thanksgiving of last year till now. We did the best we could. We tried. And we appreciate you hanging on. And our numbers keep growing, which is incredible. Because sometimes we seem like we struggled for things to talk about. But you know what? We made it. We're here. We did it together. It wasn't just Aslan and I. It was all of us. We all did it. This is the Wake Up War Chant family, and we're one. And yeah, we bicker sometimes and we disagree, but we're a family, and we're tight-knit, and we made it because we got love. There's love. That's all this is. That's all this world needs. It's just love. That's what makes the world go round, and that's what makes Wake Up War Chant such a great podcast. There's a lot of Florida State podcasts out there. I know there's competition, but did they have love like we do? Hell no. Get down to Tallahassee if you can and get out of the way of the hurricane. I'm done.
WarChant.com is the ultimate inside source for FSU football and recruiting. And now you can get in on the action for free for an entire month. WarChant.com is offering a risk-free 30-day trial subscription. Get full access to the #1 website covering the Seminoles just by entering the promo code WarChant30. That's WarChant30. Sign up and get in on the world's most active FSU message boards. Receive breaking news, stories from our award-winning staff, plus get exclusive interviews and videos. Just enter the promo code WarChant30. WarChant.com, your ultimate Seminole sports source.